courage. I learned it from my adoptive mom.
Appliances
Neuroscientists
and home systems all tend to break down at some point, but with an American watching like the live footage of Times Square, the voice is gone. There are multiple different websites that you can go on. You click the first link and it feels illegal to even be on here. You feel like you're on the FBI's radar. You are suddenly inside of somebody's living room, watching the homeowner sit on the couch. They're knitting. They're periodically glancing at the TV and knitting. And you're like, do they know that I'm watching this right now? The next camera you click is CCTV footage outside of someone's house. Again, do they know that I can see this right now? The next one, you're like, okay, they definitely don't know. It's somebody's bedroom. It's their closet. It's their bathroom. It's the mall. There's public places like gyms, hospitals, schools, prisons, women's health clinics. And then finally, there are tons and tons of videos of private bedrooms with live footage of sleeping babies.
It's got to be super illegal, right?
It's questionable. A lot of these websites are not illegal because they are accessing unencrypted video cameras, like unsecured video cameras. If you get a home security system and you don't change the password, technically anyone could really access that. Just know any security camera where you can access it on your phone, so can anybody else if they really try.
Wow.
So there are websites that will just broadcast these unprotected home security cameras online. So it's kind of gray area of, is it really illegal? Is it not illegal? Who's even running these websites? It's weird. Some people who browse these websites daily, they explain, well, it's not that I'm a creep. It's just like, I'm lonely. I'm lonely and I want to be around people. And this is the most natural way to be around them. Which is fine if you're watching like the live footage of Times Square, but to watch somebody else in their living room is kind of weird. I would call a therapist. I would call a police officer. But they continue. And it's also this weird paranoia that if I keep clicking and watching different cameras, I'm going to pop up on there.
What does that mean?
They feel like the more they click, one day it's going to show them on the screen.
Like they...
It's like this fear that it's going to be you next. So they keep clicking and trying to make sure that they're not on these websites. They say it's a very interesting feeling. It's a mixture of complex feelings. But I will say that some of the darker ones, they really focus on baby cams, live footage of baby cams. Now, I imagine that this is probably illegal, but Jamie didn't know that. Jamie's a mom, and she just knows that her baby cam has this really cool feature where you can go on your phone and you can make the baby camera move. You can make it look right, you can make it look left. Just swiping on your phone, it'll turn the camera, the point of view. It scans the entire room. I'm assuming it's a really good convenience feature. But she wakes up Wednesday morning and the camera is pointed not at the crib in her room, but it's pointed at her on the bed that she shares with her husband. And she's like, why is the camera pointed at me? I mean, she doesn't remember setting it like that. Maybe her husband is at work and is wondering what my beautiful wife is up to. Is she up out of bed? He moved the camera and then forgot to move it back. Regardless, she's like, not a big deal. She gets up, starts her day. At dinner, Kevin, her husband, comes home. And it's just the three of them, Jamie, Kevin, and the baby. And they're sitting there and she gets this alert. Ding, baby monitor being adjusted. The camera is moving. And she looks at Kevin. She looks at Kevin's phone that is on the table. He's not even touching his phone. She opens up the baby cam app and she sees in real time, the camera is slowly moving to pan across the room. It stops and it points directly at the armchair that she sits on. And this armchair is where she breastfeeds her son every single day. Then it scans to the adult bed. I guess once they realize that nobody is there, it goes back to the bassinet, the crib where the baby sleeps. Jamie's looking at Kevin. Did you change the position of the camera earlier today? He's like, well, what are you asking me right now? Did you change the position of the camera earlier today to point at the bed? He's like, no, I didn't even check the camera all day today because you were home all day. Jamie runs into the bedroom. She unplugs the camera and starts calling the police. You gotta help me. Someone hacked into my baby cam. She tries to log into her baby camera app and it's restricted. It says insufficient permissions. She can't even get into her own account anymore. And the police tell her, well, you're not the first one that's called us about this. Like, things like this happen quite frequently, and there's not really anything we can do about it.
Wow.
Another netizen said, I was changing my daughter's diaper and I just had this feeling, you know, when you're outside, you feel like someone's staring at you and you look and they're staring at you. I had that in my house, but I was alone. So I looked around and then all of a sudden I hear this voice, "That's a really poopy diaper,"
That's crazy.
coming out of the baby cam.
So they're not just watching. They basically hacked it.
Yes.
Hacked your system. And,
Yes.
And is messing with you now.
Yeah.
That is...
A lot of creepy people will be hacking baby cameras, but that's not even the creepiest thing that you can find on a baby cam. It can get so much worse. A Chinese-American couple in San Francisco, Dina and Tim, these are pseudonyms, by the way, they wish to remain anonymous. They open up the old footage from their baby camera, like the ones at night when their baby is sleeping in her room, and they press play.
When you say old, is it like how old?
Like a few weeks old.
Oh.
Because they noticed some things were off and they just wanted to check the footage, make sure that nothing had happened. And they go into weeks old footage and they press play and they have this gut feeling it's going to be bad, but it's so much worse. This is the worst thing that they have ever seen in their entire lives. They click open the file. It's at night, makes everything creepier. It's black and white and everyone's eyes in the rooms are glowing. So if you walk into the room on the camera, your eyes look like raccoon eyes. It doesn't help the situation. The camera is pointed from the corner of the room. So inside you see this queen size bed, a small crib right next to the queen size bed, as well as some desks and some other storage organization shelves in the room. It's just like a basic room. They press play and they see this 56-year-old woman standing at the edge of the bed, at the bottom of the adult size queen size bed. She's holding their newborn in her arms, maybe like a few days old. And the baby is peaceful. And the woman is just standing there peacefully. It almost looks like she's zoning out. Then out of nowhere, she pulls the baby up and throws the baby like a football onto the bed with so much force, the baby bounces off of the mattress and lands on the very edge of the mattress. So it's like bouncing on the bed because she's chucking that baby at the bed so hard.
A few days old, you said?
Yeah, like 4 days old. The baby starts crying. The baby was not crying before. The baby starts crying now.
Is there audio too?
Yes. And the woman is silent. She has no facial expressions. She doesn't look angry. She doesn't look crazy. She doesn't, just nothing. She's just got a blank face. The woman walks over very calmly, like a robot, and starts grabbing the blanket on the bed and shoving it into the baby's mouth and then pressing down on the baby and strangling the baby. Dina and Tim are shaking because that's their baby in the video. That's their baby. And that woman is the freaking devil. They click the next video. They see the same woman standing above the baby's crib, their baby, and the baby is peacefully sleeping. The woman starts smacking it on the sides. Again, her face is like empty. There's no anger. There's no enjoyment on her face.
Is this a different day?
A different night. Just empty face, smacking the baby side to side. Baby wakes up, naturally starts crying. The woman grabs the edge of the blanket, shoves it in the baby's mouth, and starts pressing down on the head. And then she grabs both of her hands and starts pressing the baby into the crib like she's kneading a really hard, large batch of dough or clay. Like it's incredibly rough. She's putting her body weight into her hands. She uses her hand to cover the entire baby's face because this baby is a few days old. The face is tiny. And she can't breathe anymore. The baby can't breathe. She stops crying. Only then does the woman give one more strong push before walking away from the crib. As she's walking away from the crib, the baby starts crying. Because that makes sense. The woman walks back, grabs the baby by the blanket. So, you know, babies have to be swaddled when they're really young because their arms can't be free. So you wrap them in like a blanket burrito. She grabs one side. Now the baby is probably standing, I want to say like a foot and a half off the mattress of the crib. And she's holding the baby over the crib and she grabs one piece of the blanket and unrolls it, letting the baby roll, and then boom, land on the crib.
Free fall into the crib.
Yeah. Eventually, the woman takes the baby into her bed, the queen size bed, and starts shoving more blankets into the baby's mouth until the baby stops crying. Now, what's very interesting is when you watch through this footage, there are moments where the baby is not crying, and she will force the baby to cry by either roughly smacking its swaddle or by shaking it with so much force. And then she will enact this crazy violent outburst against the baby. This is the since viral case of the most evil nanny in San Francisco and how she is now currently free and evading the law. We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They focus on finding missing children, reducing child exploitation, and the prevention of child victims in the U.S. called Red Note. 小红书. It's actually like Little Red Book, I think is the more proper translation. But nevertheless, I am obsessed with Red, by the way. I had my husband download it for me for like a year or two ago, and it's been wild to wake up one day, shoving her phone out the second floor window, recording every single person in the driveway. And there's a row of people in the driveway, and they're staring proudly back at her. Like, you're recording me? Okay, fine, record me. And they're spraying the words baby abuser all over her garage doors.
Wow. How many people is outside?
Like a good handful of this random place. And there's still remnants of eggshells on her driveway from when her house was egged. I mean, the woman that everyone is calling a baby abuser is an alleged higher up at TikTok. TikTok, the company. And all of this leads back to a series of posts made on the app Red Note. It's getting crazy, okay? Dina and Tim are on Red Note, and they're looking for a Chinese-speaking nanny, but in America. They live in San Francisco. But they're on the Chinese app, and they want a Chinese nanny who lives in San Francisco. And they're on this like months and months in advance. They know the due date. They've already gotten all the clothes, the paperwork, all the essentials, and now they're just waiting to give birth and find a nanny. Dina's not really in a rush, which is why she starts looking so early on. She just wants to make sure that she can find a nanny that she fully trusts. She's skipping through all the nannies that are posting on the Red app, the Chinese app, until she comes across one where the caption reads, San Francisco postpartum nanny recommendation. And the picture, the main picture you see is this huge spread of food, freshly steamed shrimp, ladyfingers, soup, eggs, dumplings. I mean, the food looks really clean and it's all homemade and it's all beautifully laid out on the table. The original poster is, she's not the nanny. She goes on to rave about the nanny. She said, I used this nanny for my very first pregnancy, and she's just so gentle. She's experienced, but also incredibly competent and capable. On top of that, the nanny is actually my neighbor's mom. So it's like someone I can trust, which, you know, obviously helps.
And the photo of the food, I'm assuming it's the nanny's cooking.
Yeah.
So she's showing off
Yes.
what she can make.
And how helpful she is. And she's saying, well, this is, you know, pretty much a referral, if you will. The person that posts this referral on Red Note, she works as the hiring recruiter, talent acquisition at TikTok. I believe she's the head of talent acquisition.
Like is that HR, or are we talking about more so for?
It's interesting. So a hiring recruiter will go out and they will manage the team of people that hire people. So they'll facilitate the interviews, look for the recommendations, I guess facilitate the background checks. Talent acquisition, they actually are more network based. So they will find ways to make TikTok a more marketable company for employees because you're trying to attract the top talent. If you're the top talent in your field, why would you go to TikTok over Meta versus all these other tech brands?
Yeah. So
you're trying to facilitate the best environment and the best, I guess, comp package and make it amazing for people who want to work for TikTok. It's a pretty big deal. I think the average salary for talent acquisition in big tech companies, probably base is like $200-300
Whoa.
a year.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Okay.
So Dina DMs the original poster, and her name is Christina. And she asks, hey, can we talk on the phone or at least like text? I just want to know more about the nanny and about the experience that you had working with the nanny. She gets on the phone and she's explaining to Dina, yeah, you know, it's interesting because I'm actually pregnant, just like you. Yeah. So I was going to use the nanny again. And because it went so well the first time. I loved her for my first pregnancy. But the reason that I'm not is because I think I might be going back to China to give birth. So I booked her originally and then I canceled on her. So I felt so bad, and that's why I made that referral post on Red, because she really is a great nanny. I mean, I would definitely have used her again, but again, I'm going to China. So after talking to Christina, Dina's like, okay, you know what? I feel good about this nanny. And also it helps because it's not the nanny that's posting about her own services. It's another Bay Area mom who already used her. She feels good about it.
Yeah.
So she books the nanny for 3 months. And it is $10,000 a month.
Wow.
Okay, I'm going to explain in a second because that's a lot of money, but it'll be worth it because this woman is not a regular nanny. September 2024, Dina gives birth to baby H. And she's honestly so relieved that she's found a nanny months ahead of time because, first of all, baby H comes early and she's on the smaller side. She's like 5 pounds. She's tiny. Dina had a lot of complications during labor. Labor was so rough. Dina's epidural didn't take well, so they had to keep dosing her with more pain meds. She
5
said,
pounds sounds very, very light.
Yeah.
Is that, what's the average? Like 10?
oh, I think like 7.
7? Oh, okay,
But 5
okay.
is really light because my niece came early and she was a little heavier than 5 too.
Okay.
Yeah. So she said it caused severe back pain because of all the epidurals. The doctors told her it's going to take you a lot longer to fully recover compared to your previous labor situation. This is her second child. And she's having some pretty alarming postpartum bleeding. Some bleeding is normal, but you just have to keep an eye out because this feels like it could be a problem. Dina's fine. They send her home with baby H, but they have to be super diligent. They got to monitor the whole situation. It doesn't help that Tim is working. They've got so much going on. Dina's in pain. Baby H came early. There's a lot. And the only thing that's saving them is that they got a nanny. Like, good thing they got a freaking nanny. And the post on Red that they originally saw, it was talking about how this nanny has 5 years of experience and she has this almost obsessive level of cleanliness. She needs everything to be clean, which for the most part, the first few days that she comes, Dina and Tim are like, oh yeah, she does have an obsessive level of cleanliness. Nanny Lu shows up. She's 56. She's this very maternal looking Chinese lady. She's on time, immediately starts going to work. She's very diligent, and it does feel like she's done this quite often. She keeps asking the parents, you have to install baby cams in the room. You have to monitor the app in the room. And how do I monitor the app? Because if I'm in the kitchen and I'm cooking or I'm doing something, I got to make sure that I can keep an eye on the baby.
Wow.
Yeah. And the parents take her phone and they can't download the freaking app because she has a Huawei phone, which is a Chinese phone that's banned in America. So they're like, okay, why don't you just use our iPad? We'll download it on the iPad. You can watch on the iPad. She's like, okay, thank you. The next day, she wakes up in the morning and the nanny looks stressed. Dina and Tim are like, what's wrong? Why are you so stressed? What's going on with the baby? She's explaining, no, nothing's wrong with the baby. It's just, I woke up to feed the baby in the middle of the night, but I can't remember if it was 2:30 in the morning or 3 in the morning. I feel like it was 2:30 because I was trying to keep a log, but I guess I was tired. I forgot to write it down. Could you guys check the camera and see what time it was?
Was the camera the nanny's suggestions? They installed it?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's wild.
So a lot of nannies actually want cameras.
Yeah. But for this case, though.
And she's like, can you check the camera to see if I fed the baby at 2:30 in the morning or at 3 in the morning?
Yeah, this is crazy premeditation. Like, there's so much thinking.
So hold on to that. And she's like, because right now I'm cooking and I can't remember what time it was.
Yeah.
And if you're like, why is the nanny cooking? Let me explain. She is a Chinese confinement nanny. This is also very common in Korea. And that's probably why she gets paid around $10,000 a month. It is, I would say, the pretty accurate belief that the human body needs to recover heavily after giving birth. And in China and in places like Korea, they take it very seriously. Obviously, we should take it seriously in America, but I don't know, the way it's set up, you barely get maternal leave, right? The new mothers will typically be confined to their house for 30 days straight.
Yeah. Sometimes you can't even, you have to.
You can't leave the house for 30 days.
Yeah.
You have to only eat nutritious, warm meals. You can't let your body be cold. So you can't eat cold food. You can only eat foods that warm you up. Like papaya is a big one. And you need to help aid with your milk production. They're not even technically, if you do it the old school way, you're not even technically allowed to shower for 30 days because you're washing away immunity and you're going to get sick and you're going to be cold. I think most Koreans don't take it as seriously, but we will only eat like miyeokguk, seaweed soup, for like 30 days. And because this is nearly impossible to do, a lot of people in the US will hire a confinement nanny. So like a lot of Chinese parents, Korean parents. And it's very different from a regular nanny. A regular nanny, their focus is on the baby. They're not cooking food unless it's for the baby, right? It's already pre-established. Confinement nannies, all they care about is the person who gave birth and the baby. The partner, other kids, we don't care about you. You are nobody to this confinement nanny. And it's actually, you're supposed to, the confinement nannies, if they're really good, they will typically protect the mother from everybody else. If the mother-in-law comes in and is like, why aren't you doing this? The confinement nanny is like, hey lady, get your ass out of here. If the husband is like, where's my dinner? The confinement nanny is like, hey, go sleep outside. It's very intense.
There's even hotels. Have you seen those?
Yes.
Like you just go there for like a few months after giving birth. They will really take care of you all day long, all day, all night, and the baby.
Yeah.
Like a resort spa, recovery center.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
They're drying your hair after your shower because you can't get cold. They're preparing ginger baths because ginger is supposed to help your body retain heat. And because they cost typically around $10,000 a month, you really want to make sure that your confinement nanny is the perfect one. Now, obviously, I don't know if it costs $10,000 all across the US. San Francisco is probably on the more expensive side. So I would maybe guesstimate 5 to 10 on average, right? Now, a few days into being in the house, Dina's like, maybe I did pick the right confinement nanny because she's asking me if she fed the baby at 2:30, 3 in the morning. She wants me to check the cameras so that she can log it down. I mean, she's got this whole paper of when that baby was fed. But then she tells the nanny, oh, we don't have the playback feature yet. Because we just installed these cameras and we have to sign up for the subscription. There's a problem with it. Anyway, right now we can only see it live, but we can't play back. It doesn't record.
What?
This is the worst mistake because this is a test.
This is a test.
By the nanny.
Oh.
I love a good seltzer water, but sometimes they just do not hit. It's like she's slacking a little bit. Immediately after that, Dina and Tim, they're hyper alert about everything in that house. And they notice just the smallest thing, the nanny starts slacking off. She's not abusive or anything. She just seems like she's slacking a little bit, which they think, okay, maybe we're just being paranoid as new parents. Maybe she's tired. Maybe she's not having a good day. We're just hypersensitive and we want everyone to function at 110% because that's what parents want, right, for their baby. But she seems a lot less caring. That's just the feeling she gets. It's a very subtle shift. Dina asks her husband, you know that old camera we had in the room that's not a baby cam but is for security? That we had in all the rooms just because when we were both at work, we don't want anything to happen to the house. Do you still have that in there? He's like, oh yeah, I still have that. It's in the corner of the room. It's not, I don't think it's pointing directly at the crib, but do you want me to check it? She's like, yeah, could you check it?
Is this weeks later?
This is a few days later.
Oh.
So this does in fact record footage and
the nanny didn't know that, huh?
no.
Wow.
They didn't even focus on, because baby cams and security cams, I guess in their minds, they had completely separated the two.
Right.
Baby cams are typically pointed at the crib and
Yeah. Wow.
And so they're like, okay, well, maybe we'll just check it. So they go through the previous night, a few minutes of the previous night.
Yeah.
And there's this one section where Tim is watching it. The baby starts crying. The nanny walks over and grabs the baby, a few days old at this point, grabs the baby and kind of shakes her a little bit because she's crying. But it's not a violent shake.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like she's going to have any health concerns. It just seems like, oh, please, like, why are you crying? Like, you shake a baby rattle, like, come on, get it out of your system. But still not okay. Mm-hmm. It's not the most violent thing, but still absolutely not okay. She's being rough. Mm-hmm. So Dina and Tim, they confront her and they're like, hey, could you just be a little more gentle when you touch the baby? And immediately, the nanny is sobbing. She's breaking down on the floor and she's complaining about how exhausted she is at night. She wakes up so late at night. Her eyes hurt. Her back hurts. Everything hurts. And money is not even the issue. Both her daughter and her son-in-law are high-ranking employees in Silicon Valley.
Oh, you mean Tim and...
No.
Wait, no. Oh.
She's saying her kids.
Oh, that's
So,
weird.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not even doing this for money. I'm doing this because I love kids. And like, money is not the issue, but I'm just so exhausted right now. Huh. And they thought it was really weird. And she keeps explaining to them, I would never do anything inhumane. She says, it's not in my nature to ever harm a baby. Dina and Tim, they're comforting her because it's so strange, but there's also something about her reaction that irks them. It just rubs them the wrong way because why are you telling me that you would never do anything inhumane to a baby? I feel like that's baseline.
Yeah.
It's like telling someone I would never kill anyone. It's like, well, I would assume that you would never kill anyone. Mm-hmm. It's very bizarre. So they start going through more of the old footage and they see that she's a little bit more rough every single night. And they don't see the extent of the full footage. They just see glimpses, pieces and parts.
So you're saying they're checking daily?
They're just going
back
through
even more.
Yes, and they just see a few little moments where she's again being rough in a way that they don't like. It doesn't seem to be a one-time thing. They don't go through all the footage. They feel like we've seen enough. We've seen a few clips. That's not what we want in our house. You're gone. Get out of here. You're not a good nanny. So they didn't see all the clips that I was telling you about earlier.
Yeah.
They just see some small, very rough, very I would consider abusive, but they don't call the cops. They just say, get out.
So how long was nanny there for?
10 days.
Okay, so that's when
Yes.
she's gone. Okay.
She's gone. They fire the nanny. They kick her out. And the whole time she's packing her stuff, she's not even trying to question why they're kicking her out. She's not even asking, oh, can I get paid for the 10 days? Which they, again, think is very weird. Because if you genuinely feel like you didn't do anything wrong, you'd be like, why am I getting kicked out?
Yeah.
Where's my payment? This is unfair. You booked me for 3 months. I could have booked other clients. Nothing. Just silence, and she leaves. And now they're just trying to focus on getting back to normal because it's a sudden change without a nanny. Dina's still recovering. Tim is taking care of her and the kids whilst working. And so finally, weeks pass. And then they're like, you know what? Just something about that nanny irks me. Now they're clear-minded. Things have gotten better. Dina's recovered. And she's like, let's go through all the footage. Dina cannot even handle looking at the footage. Tim said, I was sitting there watching, and each time the nanny even shows up on the baby cam, I had to mentally prepare myself. My heart would start racing. My hands could not even stay still while they're holding onto the phone. Sometimes when he sees the nanny in view, he just wants to squint his eyes because he knows what she's about to do to their baby. And he's just sobbing the whole time, wiping his tears, wiping the tears off the screen. I will say that the footage is so violent. The footage is, people that don't even know Baby H like myself, no relation to Baby H, it's so hard to watch the footage. I think it's worse because it's very unexpected. There will be moments where the nanny is holding the baby in her arms, and it seems like she's kind of rocking the baby back and forth. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she chucks the baby across the room.
So this started when? Like the first night, second night?
Yeah.
Immediately?
Mm-hmm. Dina starts freaking out. She and Tim are both just trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do about this. And then they reach out to the girl on Red Note that even posted about the nanny in the first place. She's not responding.
So I'm so sorry. So about the footage.
Yes.
Was that what was it? Is it just constant, like every couple
night.
hours?
Yeah, every couple hours.
Just throughout the night, she will walk into the room and abuse the child and then leave.
She sleeps in that room.
Oh.
So she sleeps on that queen size bed and the crib is next to her. Every time she has to do midnight feedings, throughout the night, and she has to comfort the baby when it's crying, when the baby is crying.
Right. But instead she's just like hurting the baby.
And then you'll see moments where she's bottle feeding the baby. And then she'll get up and she has to burp the baby. But she'll burp the baby so hard the baby starts crying, and then she'll start shoving blankets into the baby's mouth. So it doesn't even feel, not that abuse is ever logical, but it's not like this baby is crying, I'm at my wit's end. Not that that's okay. I'm not even, please, okay? But it's even scarier.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like she's trying to make the baby cry so that she can abuse the baby.
That is weird. Okay.
It's very bizarre. Now, this red note referral is not responding. At first, Dina and Tim are trying to reach out because, first of all, this lady is crazy and you need to help us get to the bottom of it. And second of all, she could have done this to your baby because you also used her as a confinement nanny. No response. So interestingly enough, they decide, why don't we try running her phone number? Because something about this feels wrong. She was pretty responsive, and now all of a sudden, if we tell you, hey, the nanny you used for your baby is abusive, you wouldn't want to call me back immediately? That doesn't make sense as a mother.
Yeah.
They run the phone number, and this girl that recommends the nanny on the app is not a random customer providing her 2 cents and a referral. She is the nanny's daughter. She's got the same last name, everything.
Whoa.
But nowhere in the post does it say, hey, this nanny is my mom. In fact, it says, this nanny is my neighbor's mom. It's a flat out lie. It's not even an omission of the truth. Christina, the red note OP, the girl that recommends the nanny, the daughter of the nanny, she made it appear as if she has relatively zero incentive to promote this nanny other than perhaps her guilt for canceling on her. She made it appear to be the most natural referral process, just vouching for the nanny when it's her mom. It is alleged that she not only lied about that, but she helped her mom get a travel visa into the US from China. So her mom was living in China. She gets her into the United States on a tourist visa, which you're not allowed to work in the country on a tourist visa. But then she's setting her mom up to work in the country, allegedly, which is illegal. So once all of these little sick puzzles are coming together, Dina and Tim are messaging Christina nonstop. I wouldn't even say they're calling her out. They're being quite understanding. Even in their initial message, it's along the lines of, hello, I'm the mother who just fired your mother, Nanny Lou. I'm not sure if you're aware of the reason behind your mother being let go, but it was child abuse. We would like to arrange a face-to-face meeting with you to discuss this matter. There are some videos that might help you understand and make a judgment. We also want to discuss how to properly handle this situation moving forward. Thank you.
They didn't file a police report?
They do eventually. But they're basically reaching out to her to state, I don't even know if you know this about your mom. I'm about to break some very harsh news to you. Christina does not give a response. No response. So then they go to the police. They file a police report. The police tell them, we can't do anything because that woman is back in China.
Wow.
She allegedly left for China the night that she was fired.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The police can't help. Christina allegedly doesn't want to help. Dina and Tim decide, fine then, we're going to try and get them to help. We're going to go on Red Note. We're going to go on Douyin, which is Chinese TikTok, and we're going to tell everybody what happened so it doesn't happen to anybody else. Who knows? She could be in China right now trying to be a confinement nanny. So November of 2024, their social media post goes viral. It's a long post with pictures of the nanny's ID card along with her social media profile and a Google Drive with all the baby cam videos of the abuse. And they write, CA video, watch with caution. The nanny's name is Lou. She was recommended to us by another mother on Red Note in May of 2024. The other mother on Red Note said the nanny was her neighbor's mom and she had hired her for her first child. We contacted this Red Note referral and spoke to her on the phone to inquire about how the nanny was, and ultimately we decided on a 3-month schedule with the nanny. But instead, this is what happened. There's 9 clips inside the Google Drive. The video starts with a disclaimer. This video might be the most malicious maternity nanny in the world. Open carefully. This video is shocking. Warning, mothers with high blood pressure should be cautious.
Are you linking these in source notes or no? I
will. Just be very careful. Yeah. I'm not a mother. My sister saw the videos and she said it kept her up for like 2 nights. It's very viscerally, you see it and you can't unsee it. And yeah, and she's a mom of 2, so it was rough. The case blows up to the point where even if you type in the words Bay Area on Douyin and read for a while, and not anymore, but at that point, one of the first results was Bay Area abusive nanny. Everybody starts resharing this video. And at first, I will say netizens' reactions were kind of mixed. A good chunk of netizens, they're busy commenting on the video itself because of just how visceral the image is. But a lot of netizens are also confused by baby H's parents, Dina and Tim. They're attacking them, going, why didn't you immediately call the cops the night you fired her? When you found out that she was suspicious, why didn't you immediately investigate further? I'm so mad. Why don't you watch over your own baby? But other netizens' posts, they start going viral too. And they're also Bay Area moms, and they're commenting, that's the freaking nanny that we initially tried to hire. We interviewed her. One poster says, we saw the original post from Christina too. And we thought, okay, well, she sounds nice. We get to the phone call stage where I'm talking to the nanny on the phone. The way she spoke and the way she answered questions was quite unprofessional. And then compared to her resume, which was over the top and professional, it just felt like it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
That's why we didn't hire the nanny. Another poster comes online to say, I almost hired her too. But the reason I didn't was, honestly, like it was a whole fight between her and her husband too, because it's kind of embarrassing. At the time, it seems stupid. We didn't hire her because I was going through her social media account and all of her pictures were heavily filtered and edited for a 56-year-old woman. Which, like, I know it's bad to just judge people like that, but compared to other professional nannies that were posting on Red Note, it just kind of felt weird. You know, most professional nannies were posting natural, unedited photos, at least on their professional account, to showcase their lives and what kind of person they are. But it was just weird. It was just weird. You know, but my husband was like, give her a chance. We went to the phone interview, and that's when we noticed something more alarming. The original poster, Christina, mentioned that the nanny was from a big city, Beijing. This is like saying they're from New York, right? Cities in China are ranked as tiers. Beijing is a tier 1 city and quite literally the nation's capital. There is some stigma, unfortunately, of professionals from tier 1 cities might be considered, I guess, biased, more advanced, you know, because it's a tier 1 city, which is clearly a huge selling point. Otherwise, Christina wouldn't have even put it in the original post that she's from Beijing, right? But when this woman gets on the phone with the nanny, the only thing she's noticing is her thick Northeastern accent. Nothing is wrong with that. There's actually a lot of tier 1 cities in the Northeast. It's just a random lie, it felt like. She's like, it's so random and weird. I guess it would be the equivalent of, instead of saying you're from Dallas or Austin or Atlanta, still massive cities, you're like, oh yeah, I'm from New York. I'm from New York City. I'm from Manhattan. It's kind of like, I don't know why you would have to lie about that. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just why. Interestingly enough, another netizen comes forward and she says, oh, I had such a bad time too during the hiring process, but not with the nanny, with her daughter, Christina. Yeah. So if the netizens' discourse is 100% accurate, and this means Christina does work at TikTok as the talent acquisition lead, allegedly, and she's supposed to be helping attract top talent. Sometimes she'll do interviews when there's some really big talent that she wants to bring over to TikTok, poach, if you will. And I would imagine to some degree she has to be a likable human being. One netizen writes, I was interviewed by Christina. The whole time, she was super unprofessional. She made several attempts to lowball my salary. Everyone I know in the industry that knows her does not like her. So all these things are coming together online. And Christina never reaches out to Dina and Tim at this point. They're posting online and people are putting the pieces together. It appears that Christina, the TikTok employee, is the one that brought her mom through a tourist visa, allegedly, illegally set it up so that she could find a job in America, which she's not supposed to be working on a tourist visa, lied about a bunch of things, and then Christina's husband, so the nanny's son-in-law, was allegedly the one to drive her to Dina and Tim's house for the job. Now, this is very important because he reportedly, allegedly, makes almost $500,000 a year working for Snap, the parent company of Snapchat. And remember, Nanny Lou
What?
said, my daughter and my son-in-law are executives, high-ranking
Yeah.
executives in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
It's believed that together total comp, maybe they make like 7 figures a year. Who knows? $1 million household income. And yet their shitty mother must work as the violent, abusive, borderline homicidal nanny. I mean, that's what netizens can't even wrap their minds around. Because sure, if you don't have money, maybe you force your parents into a job that you know they're going to be bad at. Maybe you don't know how bad they'll be, but they don't even need her to work. They make way more. I mean, yes, the Bay Area is expensive, but are you serious? The nanny, Christina's mom, can't even legally work. I mean, none of this is making any sense. So netizens dig even further, and they find out that Christina had actually posted about her mom way before her being a nanny. She was on these forums on WeChat. So the nanny posts are on RedNote, which is the TikTok refugee app. Then you have WeChat, which is like WhatsApp. And she's posting on there in these group chats where she recommends her mom as a nanny. And she says, I'm recommending a nanny. My colleague originally booked her. So now she's switching it up.
But this is older than Reno Post?
Yes.
Okay.
My colleague originally booked her, but recently she decided to return to China to have a baby. So now it's her colleague, not her. She recommended the nanny to me. Several of my colleagues have used this nanny. She's very clean and reliable, and the daughter also lives in the area. So lots of trust. Nobody responds. So days later, she's in a different group chat on WeChat, and she's writing, wait, wasn't someone here looking for a cleaning lady? My colleague just moved, and his cleaning lady is now available. She's Chinese. She's been working for their family for a really long time. I haven't hired her personally, but if anybody needs her, I can get him to send me the info. I heard she's quite cheap. Their house is a 2-story home, probably 1,800 square feet. The cleaning lady comes in once a week and charges $50. No time limit. Which, side note, that's an insanely low fee to charge. I remember when we were in New York, which I'm assuming it's comparable to the rates of SF. I mean, it's crazy. Like these rates, everyone online were like, these rates don't even make sense, especially in a big city. According to Reddit and other online sources, house cleaning services in the Bay Area, you're looking at $30 to $70 per hour. It's going to take multiple hours to clean a 1,500 to 1,800 square foot home, depending on how messy it is. $50 for the entire place just doesn't make any sense. And because it's such a good deal, everyone on WeChat starts asking for the contact information. They're responding in the chat like, oh my God, please, please, please. One person comments, oh my God, the price of our cleaning is lower than the floor. Like it cannot go lower. It's already on the floor. Please, I need the contact info. What kind of godsend price is this? Christina responds, I'm also so tempted to use the cleaner, but my mom is visiting in the US and she's been cleaning my house. She's definitely not as good and she's got a really nasty temper. I never got to use the cleaning lady for cleanings, so let me know if you guys want the women's contact info. And then she sends the phone number, which turns out to be Christina's personal phone number. And the person that she's referring is her mother.
Wow.
Which, side note, what makes all of this even more twisted, if it's true, is that, again, Christina makes a lot of money, and on top of that, she works as talent acquisition for TikTok. Let's be pretty real. She probably knows to a, I would say, relatively deep level how advertising works. Her way of advertising her mom is so meticulously thought out and sinister. She never says it's my mom. Because what's wrong with that? You could just say, hey, my mom works as a, as a housekeeper. She would love a job.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah. Dang. And it also sounds like she definitely knows the mom's problem.
Yes.
Like 1,000%.
A nasty temper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, just wait. There's more group chats.
And a free $60 gift.
24 hours of this expose going up, she posts online. Christina posts online. Victims, please contact me if you have been harmed.
What?
Yeah.
That's it?
No, and then she continues. I am Nanny Lou's daughter. Regarding this matter, I did not take the responsibilities for safeguarding the situation, and I did not know nor care for my mother's personal health and mental state. Regarding my mother's working as a nanny in the US, we did not know that this was happening. For the full 9 months that she was here in the US, she did not live with us. She used my Red Note account to post, pretending to be me, and used my cell phone number to contact the victims. I did not know about any of this.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
If you do not believe me, we can video chat so that you can see that I'm not the referral's voice. Regarding this matter, I feel so wronged. I don't know how to fix this. Either it just feels incredibly unjust. With my family's financial condition, I did not have any reason to recommend my mother for her to obtain an illegal job in the US. AKA, I'm rich. AKA, like, why are you throwing this in there? And she's saying, regarding the aftermath, I don't understand why the parents of the child did not call the police right away, but instead chose to let my mother go back to China, and then chose to address the issue by online bullying my family. My husband did not receive the messages you claim you sent us. The reason for not responding immediately is, 1, my mother did not admit to doing anything that she was accused of. 2, child abuse is very serious and it's a crime. We were hoping that the police would handle the issue. On top of that, when the police asked us and inquired about this issue, that was the first time that I saw the security footage. It shook me to my core. After I confirmed the safety of the baby, my first reaction was, is there something wrong with my mom? Like, is she having a mental breakdown? The week that I spoke to the police, we were constantly dealing with the authorities, constantly dealing with this matter. I was repeatedly calling my parents in China, suggesting that they go to the hospital to get my mom's mental state checked out. Did I try to avoid this matter? Yeah, I did. I admit that. Because I didn't want to get in contact with the parents directly. I wanted to trust that the police would handle it. If they were going to arrest my mother, they should arrest my mother. If they were going to sentence my mother, then she should be sentenced. Whatever needs to be done, it's fine. Please, everyone, just try to think in my shoes for once. If this happened to you and your mom refused to admit this, and then you see the security footage only to realize the truth, besides taking care of your mom, what more can you do? What can I do in this situation? This has already happened. I mean, comparing the damage to the family of the baby that they've received, the damage that it's done to me and my family is, I guess, dismissible. The impact that it's had on me is, insignificant. I can very much understand the parents of the baby's anger after 2 months. And I also understand that they're not seeking money. But in my current stage, I can't fix my mom. So all I can do is beg for the parents to answer my call. If you don't want the police to handle it, then I'm also open to hearing your demands so we can settle it privately. I mean, I guess who raised her, right?
Yeah.
There's not a single apology in the statement. I mean, this is the hill you want to die on? Like, child abuse is okay, it's not my problem? That's the hill? It's always hard to understand when people decide to be so stubborn and wrong and morally corrupt. It doesn't even make sense. Christina basically complains, for lack of a better words. She did her best. This is not my problem. My mom might be mentally ill. Why don't you let the police handle it? Also, the post is riddled with, me when I lie moments. That meme? Things just don't make sense. Your mother hasn't lived with you for the past 9 months. How did she get access to your Red Note account and your phone number to impersonate you? Not to mention the referral post that was made promoting Nanny Lou as the best nanny ever. It was written with a lot of trendy words. I guess, like you would say, more slang.
Yeah,
it's not something...
Yeah, my parents can't even figure out how to make an account.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Exactly. So after this post blows up, more screenshots get unearthed. And I will say this time around it's very difficult to validate these screenshots, so take it with a grain of salt. But someone claims that they are in a group chat with Christina. Christina has been ranting about this situation to the group chat. Allegedly, she wrote in her chat that she wanted her mom to work in the United States because she doesn't want her to just sit around at home and do nothing all day. Then she allegedly goes on to write, look, the employer didn't pay enough, so she threw the baby. The child was hit. That was that. They definitely didn't pay her enough for all that work. Anyway, once this turmoil dies down, I'm going to treat everyone in this group chat to a meal.
What?
Another alleged chat says, in a few days, the internet will move on. No one in China even cares what you're seeing. The outrage is just all fake commotion based on what big data is pushing to you.
Huh.
Let the law handle it. The outrage is going to die down. I mean, what? Do I need to go to jail too? Again, these are alleged messages. Finally, someone in the group chat gets fed up with it and allegedly responds to allegedly Christina. You're just indifferent to it? Do you really feel nothing about the videos of your mom abusing the baby? Or are you just like your mom? If this is actually Christina, The account responds, I'm used to it. That's why I want her to work. She can't just stay at home. Whatever grievances that the mom has, like, what does it have to do with me? The worst part is, it is said and alleged that Christina changed her profile picture in the group chat to be of baby H. Whoa. So one person that exposed the group chat said from the beginning to the very end, she never felt that she nor her mother were in the wrong. Instead, she believes it's Dina that's in the wrong. That's her attitude. That Dina and Tim are the reason for all of this happening to her. Yeah. Her attitude feels very much like, everyone is bullying me on the internet. Like, what does this have to do with me? Why am I getting bullied? I'm not the one that hit the kid.
Yeah, like even like the very original post, she's saying that, why didn't you call the police right away? Are you kidding me? That's your first response?
Yeah. Oh, and then she makes another post. It almost feels sarcastic. The opening line is, I'm the daughter of the malicious nanny from the Bay Area.
This is her second post.
Yes. We have been speaking and communicating with the police about this matter. If the affected family is still unsatisfied and wishes to resolve this privately, please answer the phone. Currently, we have received many personal attacks and threatening messages, which we have reported to the police. We hope that people will stop illegally sharing our personal information. All my explanations and actions to address this issue will only be conveyed directly to the family involved. Thank you for your understanding.
Wow.
People went in. People went into TikTok.
See, what's interesting is
yes,
she did really good at marketing the mother, right? She understands what the algorithm, what people wants to see. And it worked. But when this happened, backlash happened, like anybody outside can see, like whatever she's doing right now is going to make the things 10 times worse. Mm-hmm. Now everyone hates you, not just your mom, but you.
Yeah.
But because they're messed up inside, they can't even help it to be evil, right? They can't even take a second to think, oh, maybe I should apologize first and not to play the victim card. They can't even help it. You see that? Yeah. Like she can't help it.
Yeah, I find that when people are just really bad people, it always comes out. Even if they're smart, successful, it just comes out.
Yes, when the tension is high, they don't know how to change that.
It's crazy. Mm-hmm. And people were upset. A lot of people that were on Chinese social media, that were on Red Note, they also work for TikTok. And they were reporting her internally, nonstop. Everybody was reporting her. And finally, someone who allegedly works at TikTok, and again, take this with a grain of salt, said, yeah, okay, so her status right after this whole thing blew up, everybody reported her, was on leave. And then now it's account not found in the internal, employee.
Like she's fired?
It seems like she was fired. And it's also off her LinkedIn. Her LinkedIn has gone kind of private, if you will. But it does appear that her husband is still working at Snap. People have mixed feelings about this. I would say it's like a spectrum. Some people think that the husband, Christina getting fired for her online post is one thing. Yeah, because you work at head of talent acquisition. Mm-hmm. You're like the worst person to entice people to work for TikTok. You just don't do your job well anymore, right? But with the husband, people are a little more mixed. Some people are saying, well, he didn't really have involvement. That's not his mother. And should his whole life be ruined because of that too? But then other people are saying he drove her. He drove her to the place of employment. So even if he didn't know that his mother-in-law was abusive, like his wife seems to know, he still knew that she was illegally working. So you're still allegedly indirectly helping commit a crime. Now, as for the nanny, I don't think anything will happen to her unless she commits a crime in China that is different from this. Or she tries to come back into the US, which I don't think she ever will. There seems to be not much else the police can do at this point. As of baby H, she has received full body x-rays and MRIs. She is too young to know if there's any lasting impacts from the abuse. It does seem like there were no direct critical conditions that need to be, examined. But I'm sure the guilt, the trauma, and the anxiety of what if, it's still going to be there for a really long time. The parents say that they feel so much guilt that their baby suffered inexplicable harm for the first 10 days on Earth. They don't even know if their family will ever psychologically heal from this trauma. Regardless, some netizens feel like everybody in the case is to blame, including baby H's parents, Dina and Tim. In fact, some netizens even take it further and they feel like the parents are the main blame. They say, so a newborn was left with a stranger? Why have a baby for someone else to look after, especially a newborn? Stop leaving your kids with other people. Another reads, I don't excuse this abuser at all, but parents should be aware that there are people like this. You really cannot trust strangers with your children. Being aware of that and planning ahead to stay at home with your kids, even for a few years, is being a responsible parent. A few years. It's up to you to protect your kids and raise them. If you can't put your kids before your job, you are not ready to be a parent, maybe ever. Some other netizens agree, writing, leaving babies to strangers is taking chances. Why can't moms stay at home to take care of their own? Don't have babies if you can't provide maternal care. Another reads, popping out a baby and immediately handing her over to a random nanny is mind-blowing. There's a whole thread of netizens agreeing and shouting into the abyss of their echo chamber, writing, women have been doing it for hundreds of years, but nowadays we don't do it anymore. It's sad that our baby's life is not worth it. They have to worry about long-term effects on the baby now because she was, tired. The nanny was tired and abused the baby. I mean, I don't mean disrespect, but it's the truth. To some degree, I think that everyone is entitled to their own opinion. But no, I don't think you are. One comment reads, for those blaming the parents not taking care of the baby themselves, this nanny was actually hired as a postpartum doula. This is very common in China. Postpartum nannies are specifically trained to take care of newborns, so they start their job when the baby is 1 day old. Their salary reaches towards $10,000 a month because of their specialty. The baby's mother is also suffering from major bleeding when giving birth, so she was hospitalized. Other parents just didn't agree with the way the parents handled it. They say it's not the parents' fault, but, okay, I understand the point, but why are you not checking the camera footage videos on a daily basis? I would watch the camera every time the nanny goes in, or at least check daily what she does at nighttime, especially when the baby is so young. Others are commenting, why bother getting a camera if you're not going to check it, especially in the beginning? It's like getting a house alarm but never setting it because it's a safe neighborhood. Others write, during my postpartum, my baby and nanny stayed with me in my room full time because I was so paranoid. But most netizens are fighting back. They say, in another interview, the mother said she suffered postpartum hemorrhaging and was extremely weak during this period. Dad needed to go to work during the daytime. Not every mom is lucky to recover perfectly within a few days. Can't people be nice and understanding? Other netizens were more focused on the actual abuse. They say, honestly, I just watched the first 2 seconds and I instantly had to turn off the video. I felt like I was watching someone murder a newborn. It was that violent. Another comment reads, at first I thought she threw a doll. I didn't imagine she was hurting a baby like that. And some netizens are focused on the question that a lot of netizens have. Wow, so both the husband and wife are high-earning tech workers. Why does the mother even need to take the nanny job? She's obviously a horrible nanny and now a criminal. It just sounds like too much greed. Honestly, for that, I think they should lose everything. Another netizen writes, the daughter and son-in-law of the nanny should be arrested for felony accessory after the fact and afterwards be sued in civil court for everything that they own. Some netizens disagree, commenting, oh, so we're firing people for crimes committed by their relatives? What do you guys think? I mean, it's not just crimes committed by the relative, though. They got the job, they drove her to work, and then to a degree, we can assume or allege that they helped her flee the country. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Christina and her husband should be held criminally liable for what Christina's mother did and how they helped? Or do you think maybe they should just get fired from their positions? Or do you think only the abuser should be held liable? Let me know in the comments. Also, there's currently a petition for change.org for the USCSI, United States Citizenship and Immigration Service, to investigate their illegal employment and infant abuse allegations. I will link that in the show notes. So with that being said, stay safe, and I will see you in the next one.
Meet Flip. She's one half of a flip-flop.
That's me!
Who got left behind at Celebration Key.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law, not available in all states. If you're into deep dives on true crime and searching for answers in every detail, you need to check out Crime Junkie. Hosted by true crime queen Ashley Flowers and her best friend Britt Peratt, Crime Junkie delivers gripping cases, both famous and lesser known, that stick with you. Their storytelling is sharp and uncompromising, just how we like it on Rotten Mango. Listen to Crime Junkie wherever you get your podcasts or watch on YouTube. Check it out today.
Ramble.
Bada bing, bada boo.
Do you trust a random stranger to give you life-altering advice? Imagine walking up to a stranger, you give them this coin. Hey, toss the coin. Toss the coin, and based off of what it lands on, by you tossing it, I'm gonna decide whether or not I break up with my girlfriend and move to the other side of the country to join a band. And my fate is in this random person's hand. Someone I don't even know. I don't even know what this person is about. Would you trust a stranger with that level of power? At the pier in San Diego, California, there's this TikToker, Bailey, who's casually sitting on the side, and she is hoping that people trust a stranger like that. She's got this giant poster board sitting on her lap, and it just reads, "Ask me for free advice," in big, bright orange letters. I don't know how long she's been sitting out there for, but a middle-aged man stops on his bike. Do I go to Uzbekistan or stay here? Yes, and it's such an intense question. Wait, say that one more time. Do I go to Uzbekistan or stay here? Do you have family there? No. Why do you want to go? To meet a woman. To meet a woman? And it was Uzbekistan? Which, that's a huge thing to ask a stranger for advice. Do you move to the other side of the world for a woman, or do you stay here? I don't know, but maybe he just needs someone who blurts out an answer. To give you the honest truth of how I feel about this TikTok, it appears to me that he just wants someone to say yes. Like, you know, when you ask someone for advice, but you already know what you want to hear, so anything else is just going in one ear and out the other. It doesn't matter to you. It's like when you decide you want to buy something already. You ask your friend, and they tell you, do you really need it? You just keep going until they say, yeah, you should totally get it. That's the energy here.
Yeah.
And the man on the bike has this very interesting outward appearance. He's wearing this black beanie, but it's only covering half of his bald head. And he's eerily calm the entire time. Like a bit too calm. The way he's just pleasantly smiling. Do I just uproot my life and move to the other side of the country?
Yeah, it's really odd, right?
Yes. And the TikToker Bailey continues to ask him, you don't like American women? Well, they're familiar. So you've given up on meeting someone here in America? No, I'm married. So he's married, pondering if he should move to the other side of the world for a woman. And the whole thing just gets stranger and stranger. He talks about how his kids are out of the house. He has an empty nest. He wants to find a woman that he's content with. He says, quote, I want to find a companion that I'm content with. And the whole time he's just pleasantly smiling while Bailey keeps telling him, sir, you're unhinged. You need to at least talk to your wife about this or settle things out here first before you even think about moving out of the country. This is crazy. This is between you and your wife. And he's mentioning that their love is diminished, and he's just pleasantly calm the entire time. And there's this one part of the TikTok where he just looks at her and says, yeah, and then 6 months later. And he kind of throws his hands up in the air as if 6 months later he's going to end up in Uzbekistan. Now, at the very end of this very transparent conversation, I think that he realizes he's being recorded. Mm-hmm. He says, well, maybe I'll find myself on the internet and figure it out from there. That video was filmed in June of 2024, June of this year. A few months later, in August, just like 2 months later, someone who looks very, very similar to this man on the bike, eerily similar, goes missing. Quite literally vanishes in the most bizarre kayaking trip out at the lake. His kayak is found in the water, overturned in the deepest part of the lake. His car is nearby. His wallet is found. But all netizens are wondering is, did he actually drown in the lake? Or did he leave his family and slip away to Uzbekistan? Or is that even really him in the TikTok video? We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support Bruce's legacy. They are a volunteer-based nonprofit who specialize in search and recovery operations for victims of drowning. For example, they have a specialized dive team that can be deployed to a drowning incident if the authorities lack the right resources. They also help by using side-scan sonar technology, decreasing diving risks for everyone involved in the search and recovery. As always, full show notes are available at rottenmangopodcast.com. One quick disclaimer, this case is also ongoing, and as of now, most of this remains, I want to say, legally unconfirmed by authorities. So with that being said, everything is alleged, and most of these are speculations by netizens. The entrance to the cemetery looks straight out of a horror movie. Or like a Halloween movie. Like, you know the show Wednesday? It kind of has that aesthetic. It's all iron. The gate to the cemetery is iron. And at the very top, it has this ornate design. And there's just 2 words hanging there. Dartford Cemetery. It's only one of the most haunted spots in the entire state of Wisconsin. If you were to walk into the cemetery, you walk up to this one tombstone. The name on there is Jackson Walker. Nobody really knows much about who Jackson Walker was, except that he died a long, long time ago. And he's got this giant mausoleum tombstone over his grave. It's huge. It could maybe fit 5 people on there, about 4 feet tall. And you climb on top of this tombstone, and you just sit there, and you wait. That's what the locals say. You wait and you wait until you feel something like a hand on your back. And once you feel it, keep in mind, this is very important, you do not look. Not that you really have the chance to, because by that point, that force is going to push on your back and it's going to completely push you off the tombstone. The whole thing is only about 4 feet tall, so likely you're not going to be injured. But even so, you're going to be standing there feeling like there's a long hair that fell into your shirt and it's traveling down your spine. You're going to feel a little shiver. One netizen writes about the cemetery. I was a junior in high school, and a group of friends and I had been looking for a place to hang out during late October. It was during Halloween season. So seeing that Dartford Cemetery was only 20 minutes away from our place, we decided, you know what, let's just venture out at 10 p.m., check it out. Upon arriving, there was nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, it just looked like a cemetery. My 2 friends and I got out of the car and we walked into the darkness with the only light reflecting off the old tombstones. And the dare was we were to sit on this tombstone that was rumored to contain the bodies of the children who had been stricken with polio and died. So as we walked closer to the landmark, I accidentally stepped on a grave. And suddenly the feeling of ice crept up my leg as if I was being grabbed by an icy hand. I quickly moved and I told my friends, but we kept going. I looked for the name on the headstone. It was too old to read. Once we got up to the tombstone, we sat on top of it. Only my friend Josh and I knew about the rumor of being pushed off by the ghost. We sat around, had a cigarette, and I felt really disappointed. We decided to get off, go home, but as Josh and I stood up, Tom, our other friend, fell off the top. I was amazed, but at the same time in awe of what power beyond the grave could even do this event. The roof of the structure was not at all slippery, so there was no reason that he would fall off. And as we were briskly walking back to the car, we also had this feeling of being watched, and Tom claimed to have seen shadows moving between the headstones. I have not been to Dartford Cemetery in several years since then, but I always think about it, about what happened that night. So why is the cemetery so haunted? I mean, technically there are 20,272 registered cemeteries in the United States, not including the unregistered ones that nobody knows about. But out of the 20-something thousand, why is this one so haunted? For thousands of years, the indigenous people considered Green Lake a very sacred place where you go to pay homage to, quote, the spirit that dwells beneath the water. Back then, the cemetery on the lake had a more beautiful history surrounding it until, of course, the United States government forced the indigenous people off the land, and that's when things clearly go south. Chief High Knocker, the last indigenous chief in the area, was buried at the cemetery. He's known to be one of the spirits haunting the area because, do you blame him? He would have been very mad to see what happened to his people. Which, side note, it is said he passed away August 12th, 1911, from drowning in the Green Lake. And now, August 12th, 2024, exactly 113 years later, another man goes missing at Green Lake, presumably drowned in a part of the lake that is over 200 feet deep. Which, if that's the case, that's not looking very good. The call comes in early in the morning from a woman. Her husband went missing last night at Green Lake. What do you mean he went missing? He texted his wife the night before at around 11 p.m. He tells her that he was kayaking on the lake, he's turning around in the water now, and he's heading to shore. So he should have been home, I don't know, let's say latest midnight, which already is alarming for authorities because even if you're an experienced kayaker, probably not the smartest thing to do in the middle of the night. But nevertheless, he doesn't make it home. His wife doesn't notice until about 5 a.m. the next morning. She wakes up, he's still not there. The authorities rush to figure it out. Maybe he made it back to shore and decided to stay at a friend's house. Deputies rush to the lake. The first bad sign, they come across the missing man, Ryan, his car, parked near the lake along with his trailer. Okay, that's okay. Maybe his kayak got stuck in the water and he's been waiting for someone to come and help him. You know, traumatic, but a great outcome considering the circumstances. First sweep of the lake, they find Ryan's kayak overturned, capsized, floating by itself in the lake. Now things are not looking as good. The biggest problem now is, well, if Ryan capsized in his kayak, he's likely dead. He was last heard from 11 p.m. He isn't reported missing until 5 a.m. If he capsized, how could he have survived? Perhaps he swam to shore, but there's an undercurrent that's strong. That doesn't make sense. And why wouldn't he be near his car then? Mm-hmm. Meaning he's likely dead and in the water, which means even the search for him is going to be hard. The part where his kayak capsized is, like I said, one of the deeper parts of the lake, 220 feet deep. That's deeper than the average lake across the world. At 200 feet, you can barely see what's in front of you. There's barely any sunlight that penetrates the water. The water is essentially black liquid. This is not something that the local sheriff's office can do alone. They have to bring in specialized search and rescue, a nonprofit called Bruce's Legacy that offers to help search for Ryan. They're going to bring in sonar technology to scan inside the lake. They have those beams that shoot out into the water. They scan what's down there without actually going down. You can kind of see an image on what's under the surface from on the boat, but you really can't have a thorough search and rescue without divers. Sonar is like a flashlight. It quickly scans the whole room. It shows you where things are, but you can't tell exactly what each thing is. It narrows down a search area very quickly, but that's it. Once that area is narrowed down, you need divers. Additionally, the sheriff's office will be bringing in canine dogs. Canine dogs have actually been known to accurately detect remains even in murky waters at depths of at least 50 feet deep.
What?
They typically do not enter the water. They stand on the edge of boats to detect scents. They can do a lot of surface area very quickly.
That's crazy.
Yes, but that also means that you need very specific boats because their snouts have to get close enough to the water to scan it while they're driving slowly.
Really?
Yeah. It's very interesting. The dogs will be very important considering the water is incredibly murky in this part of the lake that he's vanished. Every hour that passes since Ryan is reported missing feels like the tension is just getting bigger. His wife and his 3 kids are waiting to hear the news that he's okay. I mean, they have faith that he's somewhere alive and well, and they just need to find him. But within 24 hours of him being reported missing, a fisherman fishes up a giant fishing pole that is identified to be Ryan's. They find a tackle box inside, Ryan's wallet, ID, keys. For 54 days, they're searching. The entire community is getting involved, giving out food, gift cards to those searching so that they can go buy food because all they're doing all day for 12-hour days is searching the lake for Ryan's body. The local docks are loaning out boats to search and recovery. Meanwhile, Ryan's wife and 3 kids, the oldest is in high school. They're selling t-shirts that say faith over fear to help fund the search. And they're being very optimistic, but it's just not looking good for Ryan. I mean, there's just no way that this man is at the bottom of the lake. I love a good seltzer water, but sometimes they just do not hit like the soap. Chill vibes, mysteries, and Stella Rosa equals a perfect night in. Grab a bottle today. Must be 21 plus. Please celebrate responsibly. The greatest mysteries can sometimes be extraordinary. I mean, something that you don't or even least suspect. Sometimes the greatest mysteries can be a little out of the box, or in this case, inside of the cereal box. There's a crunchy, delicious mystery that's just begging to be cracked while I'm good at what I do. In this particular lake, he's been doing 9, 12-hour days looking for Ryan, and he says, I'm telling you right now, I don't think that Ryan is in that lake. What? Then where is he? Did he capsize the kayak, swim ashore, and then hide in the woods or something? What do you mean he's not in the lake? In light of this conversation, Sheriff Podell decides, I'm just going to run his name. I'm going to run his name and see what happens. They run Ryan Borgwart's name. His passport comes up as entering Canada the day after he's reported missing. Because there's a log of all of this. How is that possible? How does a dead, drowned man go to Canada? He's supposed to be at the bottom of the lake that they spent $40,000 searching for him. What the hell do you mean his passport came up in Canada?
Wait, so this is 50 days later?
54
days later.
Yes.
They didn't search his name in the system for that long.
No, because, the evidence was very clearly... And his passport was at home.
Oh.
Exactly.
Then how did he pass? Oh. Okay.
We'll get there. So they start rabbit holing. Not only did his passport come up in Canada, the laptop that they found at his house, the hard drive had been recently replaced. And his search history had been deleted the day he went missing. Why the hell would this family man delete his search history conveniently the day that he goes missing? The sheriff eventually makes a press announcement. Due to the discovery of new evidence, we are confident that Ryan Borgwart is not located in the Green Lake. We have ended all search efforts associated with Green Lake. At this time, we believe Ryan is alive and likely in Eastern Europe. To put it lightly, they are now accusing Ryan Borgwart of faking his death escaping to Eastern Europe. Is that what the sheriff is saying? He tricks the whole town. His coworkers, family, wife, and kids all believe that he drowned in the lake when he really didn't. They're all passing out food to the search and rescue teams. What kind of person does that? What kind of person has any good reason to fake their death? Did you know every situation of someone faking their death that we know of are unsuccessful ones? We don't know about all the successful ones. One netizen writes on Reddit, the best way to fake one's death obviously is not a kayak. That's some beginner novice shit. But rather, easiest way is killing someone roughly the same size as you. Dress them in your clothes, remove all their teeth and get rid of them. Position the body inside your car on the driver's seat. Now you remove all your teeth and place them in the body. Gas it up, set it on fire, walk away and go live a new life. Which is very extreme.
That is crazy. So they're saying... to fake your own death, you have to commit murder and then pull out all your teeth, and then you can pretend that you're dead.
Yeah. Which at that point,
yeah,
that's crazy. But that still doesn't answer why someone would want to fake their death. You know the book, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? It's like a very famous book. The author of that book actually staged this elaborate death where it appeared he jumped off a cliff. And he wrote this note to go along with it. Ocean, ocean, I will beat you one day, or something poetic like that. When in reality, he was hiding in his friend's trunk while they drove into Mexico. He faked his death to get away from a marijuana charge. In the end, he was found doing copious more drugs in Mexico and brought back to the United States for a 5-month jail sentence. In 2003, a guy named Jesse Kiff died. Well, he faked his death. He hacked into the Hawaii death registry system using stolen credentials from a doctor, declared himself dead, signed using the doctor's stolen credentials. Also, he could allegedly avoid paying over $100,000 he owed in child support. Or maybe sometimes people fake their deaths because they're spies for high-powered government agencies. There's many reasons why someone would fake their death. But Sheriff Podell is initially very cryptic. He reveals, yes, we suspect that Ryan faked his death, but he doesn't really reveal why. He says, everything we have found, we're in a really good position that we know he is somewhere out there. All we want to know is that he is safe. Our goal is to identify any crimes that have been committed by any individuals who assisted with this crime. Ryan, if you're watching this, I'm pleading that you contact us or contact your family. We understand that things can happen, but there's a family that wants their daddy back. So why would Ryan Borgwart fake his death? Authorities are able to retrieve data from his computer that he thought he had gotten rid of. This man had been in contact with a woman from Uzbekistan. He had Googled how to transfer funds into foreign bank accounts, and he took out a $375,000 life insurance policy so that when he, quote, dies, his family will be taken care of, if you will. So did he really fake his death to be with a woman from Uzbekistan? That is very extreme. Some netizens are calling him the ultimate passport bro. Evidently, I think marrying someone that doesn't have a similar culture or upbringing as you is a fascinating experience. I think there's a lot that you can learn from each other. I also think that dating and love should be bound by no geographical constraints, right? However, I do think it's weird when people go abroad for the sole purpose of finding a partner because they hate all the quote options they have at home. I think that's a little weird. I do find that to be a very thin line between chasing your dreams and happiness to straight up looking for partners that are in more exploitable conditions. Welcome to the conversation of passport bros. Many netizens like to call them LBH. Do you know what that stands for?
The passport bros like to call themselves LBH?
No, people like to call passport bros LBH.
Oh, I don't know.
Losers back home.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So they now are forced to travel to different countries to find people to date, is what some netizens say about passport bros. Draw your own conclusions. I'm not here to sway you into loving them, hating them, agreeing with them, disagreeing. I think they exist, and I think it's fascinating and terrifying. One passport bro states that women overseas are just more open-minded. He goes on to state, another misconception is that passport bros can't meet the standards of women in the US, so they travel overseas to date foreign women. But this perspective is elitist. What makes Western women the pinnacle of the global dating scene? Which, I don't think anyone said that, right? Is the only reason someone travels abroad to date because they can't find a partner in the US? I believe many passport bros feel it's the opposite, and it's women in the US who can't rise to their standards. He says he hopes to find love and settle down in one of his top contending countries, Brazil, Colombia, and South Korea. Which, no one's getting married in South Korea, so I don't know what you're thinking. But as for what he looks for in a woman, he says someone beautiful, loyal, and family-oriented. Again, I think if you love traveling or you love a specific culture and you wish to find a partner that's immersed and shares that same interest, that's beautiful. But passport bros keep taking it 10 steps too far. This is from actually one of the more palatable passport bros out there. Others write about their travels in Southeast Asia, which, by the way, Southeast Asian women are incredibly beautiful, yes. But the way they talk about these women in these forums is, okay, just listen. They have traditional values. Every single one of them that I talk to lived with their parents. These girls rate on a hot scale much higher than your average woman in the West, and they are more ready to please. Some of the passport bros just hate on invisible American women screaming into the empty chambers of their brain. To the salty Western woman lurking on these forums, yikes, you have no idea the competition you are now facing for men.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, again. Love who you love. I think you can be attracted to different cultures, different aesthetics, but why put on this fictitious war between women fighting over you in your mind? That's just the beginning stage of a mental health condition that will eat away with you. But they keep ranting. You cannot even come close to what woman overseas has to offer. So keep lurking on our forums, keep staying bitter, keep trying to shame us, and we will keep leaving for greener pastures overseas. My next mission is to get my other single friends that also have great jobs like me to give passport bro life a chance. Again, nobody is stopping you. Truly. This is why you have a passport. Some passport bros aren't even worried about I'm so sorry, guys. I have been lurking on these forums and I read it. I felt the pain and now you need to too, okay? Some of these passport bros, they're not even worried about Western women like that. They're worried about, quote, ruining the woman overseas. A TikToker posted a video from the Dominican Republic giving advice to other bros. Man, don't go crazy. These local countries, they have their own economy set up. In some places, for instance, in the Dominican Republic, the average person pays between $100, $200 a month for rent. So if you're coming here and being Papi Dinero and spending $200, $300 on a female in a day, you're just blowing things way out of proportion. You're messing up the local economy. So now the next guy comes down, these women are going to expect more than they've probably ever seen. I'm not going to say deserve because you can get what you can get out of life. When you come here and you start going crazy, throwing things off balance, a lot of the guys are going down to the DR and treating the place like a strip club. You're upsetting the imbalance of things. I heard stories of guys back in the 90s. I heard stories of guys going down there and having a nice time with a young lady for $50 or something for a couple of days. You try to offer that to a young lady now, she's going to laugh in your face. Why? Because the local economy, the structure of things has been thrown off.
Wow.
Most people think that this man is a crusty man with crusty skid marks, but I regret to inform you that some people agree with him, and that could be potentially terrifying. One comment reads, "He's right. I ran into this exact problem the last time I went down there." Another netizen writes, "A majority of these passport bros are turning the women in these countries into Western women. I keep seeing posts about guys bragging about going on 10 different dates in 10 days, sleeping with woman after woman as they go from country to country, basically treating them like disposable trash, which is why I won't even step foot into insert country unless you're fine with dating a woman who has been run through by about 15 degenerate passport bros." They also complain about the worst things that could possibly happen while they date overseas. Which, side note, some of the worst things that could happen to anyone, and obviously a lot of women, is, to be tortured, essayed, and killed going on a date. But passport bros complain online that some of the worst dating encounters that they've had overseas, they write, "The worst I've experienced is that they aren't as hot or as enthusiastic as they were online." Still significantly better than here in the US. On that same note, another netizen writes, "Oh yeah, the worst, the girl shows up and bum, 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 she's fat." Another one just comments, "Oh yeah, the worst thing that could possibly happen is getting used for a green card." There's one video of a man who, honestly, I don't know how old he is, but he has a sour, wilted look to his face. He is standing in the parking lot, filming a younger woman who is visually so clearly out of his league. And he says loudly, "Passport bros, you want to hear a success story? Look what I pulled." She doesn't even speak English, so I don't even have to listen to her. Which the top comment reads, "Once she gets that green card, she will speak all the languages." But some passport bros try to argue that it's because they're just going where they're appreciated. They write, "I hated the term passport bro and all the negative connotations attached to it. For me, I was just going where I'm appreciated. It's really that simple." To which one netizen comments back, "The US culture hates men. The US culture uses men and discards them for not performing enough in long-term relationships. Most women don't value men in the US and view them as competition. Women have a chip on their shoulders due to dealing with a small group of shitty men or, past childhood trauma due to a father that most likely wasn't there. The legal system is shit and blames men. I'll say this, fuck this culture. You matter. And seek out the destiny God has put in front of you. You are free. You're not a slave to be used with nothing in return." The bros rant about how, quote, "It doesn't get better for a woman in the US anywhere outside the US. Whether we're talking about earning power of men in the US, alimony, child support, divorce laws, average woman over 27 being overweight, yeah, their life doesn't get better outside the US." They also say that American women are so particular about love that they won't date a short guy even if he clicks off all the other boxes. With a strong absence of neurons firing away, one netizen writes, "I know they ask, why don't you date an American woman? Well, American women are highly feministic since white woman feminism encourages women to go for tall men. I am 5'6" and they rejected me. I'd already given up on women and I thought that I would die alone. So I had 3 choices in America, which are get height surgery, which is so extreme, nobody told you that, which is dangerous and experimental, go for fat women, or go for women that are my age but mostly are all already single moms. I don't know why feminists are getting mad when they didn't even want us in the first place." Someone responds, "First, you must understand that modern women are not feminist. They are opportunistic capitalists who use feminist tenets to obscure their behavior. They aren't interested in equality. Only anything that men use to have the upper hand. They don't want a level playing field. They want an advantage to take revenge on the so-called patriarchy. Keep in mind that their idea of revenge is basically everywhere being Sex in the City where they get easy access to rich men and hot guys for sex." This guy is so mistaken. Every single girl in my life that I know, they do not care for capitalism. They care not to wedge their house keys between their knuckles in a parking lot. This is a mental war that you continue to fight with your own mind. You will never win the war because it is against yourself. In conclusion, you remain a loser. Not in like a mean, childish, derogatory way, just logically speaking. You're a loser because you lose the map. Yeah. Meanwhile, this is what many, not all, don't get emotional, many passport bros are writing about in their forums. Listen to this. Been in Manila for about 5 months now, leaving soon in a few weeks. In the last months, I had my girlfriend live with me. Lots of ups and downs. So he goes to Manila, gets a girlfriend, and has her move in. Mostly ups, but she can be extremely annoying, defiant, and clingy at times. But I guess that comes with the territory of dating a 19-year-old.
How old is he? Do we know?
Late 20s, I think. This is the first time I've had a partner live with me, and it has made me realize that I'm not ready for it, and maybe I never will be. Things were a lot better when she would just come and stay on the weekends, and I would be seeing other women during the week. Today we got into a fight. I wanted to eat pizza for lunch, and she wanted to eat something with rice. He goes on to detail that he threatens to abandon her without a ride back to their house, threatens to starve her until she starts, quote, acting right, and sits down at the restaurant with pizza. He says, I can see how a lot of Western guys with no dating experience come here and eventually get worn down and steamrolled by a girl they're dating because they're still in that Western scarcity mindset. But I know that I'm the prize here. It's amazing to have so many options here because I know if she gets too uppity, I could just be dating a new girl tomorrow. And she knows this too.
Wow.
Which I know some people do argue. The guys are getting something out of it. And maybe some of the girls, which side note, I think it is very strange that we all believe everyone wants to move to America. Some people think, if the girls do want to move to America, they know that the guy is not in love with them for who they are. This is their way to get a green card. By all means, do your thing. Everyone do their thing, right? It's its own little ecosystem that's working. It's a checks and balances. But these days, the passport bros are very angry about this idea as well. One writes, loving my passport bro decision, but I'm bringing my Filipino wife back to the West. I want to empower her to thrive, grow, and be fulfilled as a person. But I am concerned of her becoming converted to woke, politicized, feminist ideas. It sadly happened to my previous Western girlfriends. Fellow passport bros, go crazy in the comments. It's probably going to happen. I would not bring her to an environment that fosters that mindset, but you do what you want. Or, fact is, all the odds are against you. Every aspect of Western culture promotes selfishness and lack of accountability and rewards women who have no morals. She will have friends and acquaintances on top of that are influencing her. It's built into women's brains, unfortunately, to never be satisfied or grateful for what they have, no matter how great it is, and always keep wanting more. Another commentator just gives tips. I cannot vouch for the helpfulness or the intelligence behind this statement, but he states, having an anti-feminist mindset is smart. She has to see the average Western feminist woman as foolish and unattractive. Frankly, there isn't much feminine about the average American feminist woman. They pretty much act like men. That's why you did the passport thing. You didn't find them attractive. You didn't want to be with a woman that had a male mindset. She needs to fully understand that and see how unattractive that is to you and to most men. But ultimately, if you bring a woman to the West, then she's going to turn into the woman that you're trying to avoid. Other people just encourage him to impregnate her as quickly as possible when she gets to the United States so that she can stay focused on him and the family. So is that what Ryan faked his death for? To be a passport bro? That's everybody's best guess right now. I mean, perhaps there's a better reason, or perhaps the woman he's communicating with online was just a friend or someone helping him figure out how to fake his death but didn't have any other relation to him. Maybe she ran an overseas relocation service. Who knows?
He said American women are too familiar, right?
That's what the guy on the TikTok said.
Oh, right.
He said that they're familiar, which is exactly the verbiage that a lot of these passport bros use. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which I do want to clarify. The sheriff's office has stated that they are doubtful that it is Ryan in that viral TikTok video. They say, we are not actively pursuing this as a lead in this case, but we have seen the video and we have contact info for the people involved. We do not believe it is Ryan.
Then who is the guy?
Yeah, nobody believed the sheriff. So they argued again. We have verified that it is not Ryan by contacting people who know Ryan. Some people still don't believe it. And they state either that's the same guy or there's a lot of married men with girlfriends in Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
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 Ultimately, all this news coverage, because Ryan goes missing, the TikTok gets posted, and everyone goes, wait a minute. Okay, so the TikTok is filmed June of 2024, but it's not posted until November 2024. He goes missing August. So he goes missing August. The TikTok is filmed or posted in November. So people are like, wait a minute. This guy just went missing. Like 2 months ago, he went missing. I was seeing it on the news. Then this blows up, snowballs, everything goes, it becomes like international news. Ultimately, all this news coverage leads to Ryan sending in a proof of life video because he's alive. He's not dead in the lake.
Wait, Ryan sent the video?
Yes.
To who?
To the police, the sheriffs.
What? How?
Yes.
Why?
It appears that things are snowballing too much. The sheriff knew that he was alive, knew that he went into Canada, and was like, Ryan, if you're seeing this, contact us. And I think he didn't want it to snowball into an international manhunt for him.
Okay.
So he sends in a proof of life video. And I will say it is the most bizarre proof of life video that I've ever seen in my life. I think those hostage videos where they hold up the newspaper is less bizarre than this.
Okay.
Yeah, the hostage movies I meant where they hold up the newspaper is less bizarre than this. He's wearing this orange shirt and he looks like he's having a rough time. It looks like, and I don't say that with sympathy. I say that with he's not looking good. Uzbekistan is not treating him well, is the vibe. He says, good evening, it's Ryan Borgward. Today is November 11th. It is approximately 10 a.m. by you guys. And this is my apartment. I am safe, secure, no problem. Hope this works.
Hope this works?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but people think once this video came out, this reminds them so much of the TikTok video because their energies are so oddly similar. He's not smiling and pleasant, but it's just the deadpan, this is what's happening.
Okay.
Do I go to Uzbekistan? Do I stay here? I am safe, secure, no problem.
So looking at that video and the first TikTok video,
Yes.
do they look like the same person to you?
They actually look similar, but if you look at the ears and the eyebrows and the nose, which are typically how people will indicate, because those things don't change that drastically over time.
Yeah.
It does not appear to be the same guy, but they look crazy similar.
Okay.
Like you would really, I had to pause both videos and I was just studying. I was just analyzing their faces.
Now I really need to know what happened to the TikTok guy.
That's what everybody is saying. Where
Right.
is he? He was in San Diego. The video was filmed in San Diego. I don't know if he lives there. I don't know if he's visiting, but someone needs to find that man.
Where does Ryan live?
Wisconsin.
Oh, I see.
But he could have gone for vacation.
Right.
But I will say there
Wow.
are some discrepancies. Ryan's kids, he has a high schooler and some in grade school. The TikTok video, the man said he's an empty nester. So all of his kids. But I think it's worse that there's two people like that.
Yeah.
I think it would have been better if it's just Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's it. The context of the video that he submitted.
That's it.
What happens next? The police is like, okay, with this video, we don't have to worry about him anymore.
So they take that as proof of life and they hold another press conference where they show this video to the world. They say, we received this video and the authorities hint at the fact that he's likely in an Eastern European country. Now, this could be valid. He could very much well be in Eastern Europe. But if he's in Uzbekistan, just technicality wise, that's not an Eastern European country. It's a Central Asian nation, but I digress. Okay. A lot of netizens have been pointing to it, so I want to include the discrepancy. But as of right now, the public is not even sure if he's in Uzbekistan. He could be anywhere for that matter. People have even tried to tag geoguessers to guess his location, but nothing particularly enlightening has come out of that. In the video, the 24-second clip sent by Ryan to the authorities, he says, good morning, it's 10 a.m. for most of you guys, which in Eastern Europe, if that is where he is, because he says good evening, but it's 10 a.m. for you guys, it would line up with Central Asia, Eastern Europe. They find a door with curved windows on it that could be traced to places like Turkey and China, but those are likely where it's manufactured. So technically they could be anywhere, but it doesn't seem like those doors are that prominent in the Western world.
I see.
Now, interesting is there are these little vents above the main front door. So he just shows us like 2 doors. We don't really get to see anything. There's these 2 vents above his apartment front door. They look like vents, but they're actually circuit boards.
I see.
And people have been able to pinpoint that as being commonplace in Uzbekistan. To have circuit boards above your front door in apartments.
So why did the police say he went to that Uzbekistan? Like, where's that information come from, except if it's not from the TikTok?
They said they found on his computer he was talking to a woman from Uzbekistan.
Oh,
but we don't know if she still lives in Uzbekistan. We don't know if she was like, hey, I'm in Uzbekistan, but let's meet in this other country.
Right.
What makes a leader? It's a tough question, but this we know for sure.
Nation's hands, preventing
Life insurance policy for his family, Jan Court is here. But no.
Wait, he told the cops everything?
Yeah.
What?
He went missing in August, so he's been planning that. I mean, this was in the works for a very long time. He had more than enough time to have a moment of clarity thinking, hey, so maybe this is crazy. But no, nothing never occurred to him. He applied for a new passport stating that his went missing, which is why they have his original passport in the house. They didn't run the passport, but they saw he had it. So they didn't assume he left the country because his passport is here.
Right, I see.
And everything else, there was no indication that he was thinking about leaving the country. Nobody was like, hey, my coworker who's missing, he actually said he was going to Uzbekistan. Nobody said anything like that. So I think that's why they did not search for his name early on in this process.
Okay.
He applies for the life insurance policy in January, applies for a new passport in May. Then in August, he takes pictures of all of his passports. He transfers a few funds to a foreign bank account, changes his email address, and is in constant communication with a woman from Uzbekistan. Then on the day that he disappears, he clears his search history, syncs his iCloud, and according to investigators, quote, he had planned to head to Europe and tried to mislead investigators. He purchased an airline gift card to buy the ticket so that I guess his wife wouldn't see the transactions.
Okay.
And how about the actual fake drowning? Ryan states that he had this child-sized inflatable boat. Okay, then he strings his kayak. He paddles out into the deep part of the lake, capsizes the kayak, and then rows the little inflatable child-sized boat back to shore. He also dumped his phone in the lake. Then once he gets to shore, he had hidden an electric bike nearby. He rides that electric bike all the way to Madison, where he gets on a bus to Detroit, Michigan. Then he crosses the land border into Canada, and then he gets on a plane to head to wherever he is now.
Which we don't know?
At least the authorities are not telling us.
Okay.
They just said Eastern Europe.
That is a crazy movie plot.
Gone boy.
Gone boy. Exactly.
He just gone boyed. Yeah. The sheriff states he did his research. One of the reasons why he picked Green Lake was because it was the deepest lake in Wisconsin. He thought his plan was going to pan out, but it didn't go the way he planned. So now we're trying to give him a different plan as to how to come back home. The sheriff states that he chose the wrong sheriff's department because Ryan said, I thought that you guys would only search for me for like 2 weeks before presuming me dead so that my family could get the life insurance policy.
So do you think it's also like no body, no insurance type of thing? Like,
I think you have to wait like 7 years. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, but the sheriff states, well, I hate to tell you, you picked the wrong sheriff in the wrong department. As for how the authorities got in contact with Ryan, they were able to get in contact with a woman who spoke Russian through his laptop. I guess maybe there were some remnants of a woman. And that's it. They won't say who this woman is. They won't say if it's the same woman from Uzbekistan. They won't say what her relation to Ryan is. They won't say anything. Just a woman who speaks Russian. That's it. That's all we got. Sheriff Padal states in the press conference, the great news is that we know that he is alive and well. The bad news is that we don't know where Ryan exactly is, and he has not yet decided to return home. And it's been really hard for the kids, which would be considered an understatement. He says, I cannot imagine what his wife and kids are going through because it's really hard. They felt that their dad had drowned, and then they found out that he wasn't. During the press conference, Sheriff Mike Padal was asked, how's the family doing? The family is doing rather well. We met with him earlier today. Yeah, it was a big shocker for them. I put a lot on his wife's shoulders. It was hard because of her kids, and she couldn't tell them or anyone. So for a while, she couldn't tell them that the sheriff believed he was alive. Yeah. So community members are coming up to her, apologizing, giving her condolences. And she's like, I think my husband faked his death and is in Eastern Europe, but I can't even say that. Yeah. He says, that lady is very strong, very strong. The press asks, so there's no indication that any family members had any connection with Ryan and what he did? No, there is not. He goes on to state later, Ryan's biggest concern is how the community is going to react to him. And I can see that. He staged his death. And unfortunately, one of the things he did say was that he didn't expect us to go more than 2 weeks searching for him. So he is a little nervous about coming back, and he doesn't want to come back. The sheriff is asked, has he expressed remorse for what he put his family through? Yeah, he talks about that. He also talks about how he feels bad for the amount of hours that we've put in and the community. He says, I got myself in this situation and I just got to try to get myself out of it. Sheriff Padal does state that Ryan gets emotional at times and that he's, quote, trying to work out the right things. Sheriff Padal states, we just want him to come back home, rejoin his family. They just want their dad back. They love him. They want him back in their lives. Christmas is coming, and what better gift could he give to his kids than to be here for Christmas? Which could be true, or it could be a way for him to get Ryan back home to be charged. But they do state that they have been in contact with Ryan every single day since he sent that video. So potential charges are, for faking his death, Ryan could be charged with a misdemeanor for obstruction, which is crazy. The actual act of faking his death is not illegal. Having everyone search for him, causing a whole spectacle in the area and on a national scale is technically not illegal. Like it's not, yeah, it's the fact that he planted the kayak that's illegal. If he just disappeared without misleading investigators by putting things in certain places that make them search the lake, that make them do certain things, then technically it's not illegal.
Right.
And even if it is a charge, it's a weak little misdemeanor.
Yeah.
The law professor states that him either giving an officer false information or knowingly placing physical evidence that would mislead the investigation is obstruction. That's $10,000 or a max of 9 months in prison. However, the real legal trouble comes in if the feds want to go in and charge him for insurance fraud, because that would actually be a felony. Like, that charge is higher than the obstruction. The way insurance fraud is considered a worse crime than this, it just tells us what lobbying is doing, okay? Insurance companies have lobbied extensively to make sure insurance fraud gets classified as a felony in most jurisdictions. They paid a lot of money to legislators. To make things even more bizarre is that he's allegedly an insurance agent prior to all of this. So in this situation, the potential penalties likely won't be as extensive considering the family never actually received the payout. Honestly, we don't even know if he's ever coming back to the US, but it would be about a few years in prison. And on top of that, the sheriff's department would likely seek restitution between $35,000 to $45,000 to compensate for the search. Keith, who runs Bruce's Legacy, which was a foundation that he set up for his brother Bruce, he said about this whole search, it was disheartening because he could have spent that time looking for others. He says, you meet all kinds of people in the world, and I guess this guy just went to the extremes, faking his disappearance. So it's a first. He definitely cost us a lot of grief, a lot of money, repairs, and equipment. I just hope he comes forward sooner rather than later so the family can move on. There is no way to force Ryan back. We don't know where he is, and if he is in Uzbekistan, the US does not have an extradition treaty with them. Many netizens do not want Ryan to come back. They comment, he needs to, quote, come home to his kids, the same kids that he abandoned and convinced he died in a tragic accident. He needs to pay child support and stay the hell away from their lives. Other netizens point out that Ryan is not dumb. He knows better than to come home, even if the sheriff is saying, we're just trying to get him home to his family. They write, the sheriff is catfishing Ryan right now. His butt is going to be in prison the minute he steps on US soil. He knows better than to come home. Another comment reads, they don't want that man to come home back for his kids. They want their $40,000 back. One netizen points out the fact that his family must have gone through all the stages of grief and it just amplifies their trauma. They read, They mourned him and everything. That's messed up. I don't care how tired of life he was. He didn't have the guts to tell the truth. Those poor kids. How weird and crazy is that? He faked his own death and put his wife and children through that trauma. They're definitely better out without him. Another comment reads, I can't even imagine this level of rejection from a parent. Leaving is one thing, but faking your whole death is just a different level of cruel punishment. My heart aches for his kids. The damage that he caused is going to affect them for the rest of their lives. Others are just hoping for the worst for Ryan. They write, imagine he went all the way to Uzbekistan just to be catfished, LOL. Another netizen writes, imagine if the guy who faked his death and the guy on the TikTok were both catfished by the same woman in Uzbekistan. To which another netizen responds, imagine if the wife is the one that catfished him to get rid of him by convincing him to leave the country and fake his death so that she could keep the house and the kids and collect life insurance payout. Which clearly is not the case here, but I guess it's an interesting what if that makes people feel better. I would be doing a disservice by not highlighting some insane comments. Some netizens point to the idea that someone should have seen this coming, writing, he looks miserable in his family pictures. Imagine the amount of nagging it required for him to reach this point, LMAO.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Another agrees, stating he looks hella uncomfortable around his family in this photo. I don't know, man. I would just let him be. He looks traumatized with his family. I guess strange minds think alike. Another comment reads, saw this story on the news the other day. He supposedly had a bad bitch waiting for him in another country. LOL. I mean, that's one of the reasons why he faked his death. I could give you 4 more reasons, aka his 3 kids and his wife. Some even write, how do you know his wife wasn't the problem? To my amazement, a lot of people actually had that take. I would like to say the vast majority are not siding with Ryan, but one comment reads, well, at least he didn't unalive his family like they usually do. Okay, many netizens actually share this sentiment, which to a degree, I think, yes, we can all agree killing people is bad, and it could always be far worse. It could have been far worse with others like it has been with others before. But it's still a crazy thing to say and do, and he should probably serve jail time, if not even alone for the fact that you're kind of scary to go that far to fake your death. Which people are pointing out, the bar is so low for men that a man faking his death is met with, well, at least he didn't murder his entire family. But some netizens think it's just an excuse for him to move on with his life, saying, I'm happy he didn't kill them. Let him live his European life. I'm not saying I agree, but I understand. Just kidding. At least he didn't unalive his family. Another comment reads that everyone should be happy that they're all alive, saying he left them a hefty insurance policy and their lives. LOL. The only people mad is the insurance company. Everybody else is a hating ass. Another comment wildly puts it, well, nobody died, so I don't think anybody should be mad. He just hated his wife and kids, and I'm okay with that because he didn't kill them. With one
This
even
is crazy.
Yeah, with one even implying that the wife and children need to move on. His former family should just respect his wishes. He doesn't exist anymore to them, and the wife should file to be a free woman.
Wow, internet is a interesting place, huh?
Yeah. Some even tried to feel sorry for the guy, writing, in this patriarchal system, quote, patriarchal, because we're not in a patriarchy. If he wanted a divorce, he would lose everything and be working every day just to give it away. It wouldn't really be any different than staying married. I'm sure he thought there was no way out besides marriage counseling. Jeez.
This is a passport, bro.
Yeah, these are absolutely diabolical things to say about this situation, but not as crazy as another comment that reads, how annoying do you think his family was for him to do something like this? Another reads, his wife must be a real bitch. Kidding. But he must have had the worst wife and kids ever. Faking your death to get away from them is pretty extreme. Another, I can't hate. They were probably annoying. At least he ain't no killer. They need to leave that man be. His family must be the worst people to put up with. What drove him to such desperation? I would look at the wife. Another, someone call the police for this one, reads, it probably would have been easier to kill her than to talk to her about divorce. Another just jokes. He didn't let his family stop him from letting him be with the love of his life. And you gotta respect that. I don't blame him. Some very good-looking women over there in Uzbekistan. Yeah, women from there are very beautiful, skinny, and not fat. Just say no to pizza. Yeah, but then you have some women commenting, and they just write, how do I get my husband to do this? Yeah, and some people just write, don't let your wife stop you from finding your dream girlfriend. Or another one reads, someone just purchased a kayak, is watching this, and is looking at his return receipt thinking, damn, back to the drawing board.
These are some crazy takes.
And that is the case of the missing kayaker found alive. Well, missing kayaker presumed dead, found alive with a woman from Uzbekistan connected to a TikTok of another man who wants to go to Uzbekistan.
You think the TikTok played a role in this case or no?
I think it played a role in making the case a lot more viral.
So that's not why he reached out to
No.
send the video?
No.
Oh, okay. It's just the police are saying that.
Yeah, so the police did 2 press conferences. And I think, even from early October, he knew that they knew he was alive. The TikTok wasn't posted until November. So the police were onto him early October. Yes. And then everything just kind of blew up in November. The police did a press conference, the TikTok, mainstream media picked up on it. The police did another press conference, and it just went crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. And I went to the depths of Passport Bro forums for this one. Please let me know, what are your thoughts? And stay safe. Don't go kayaking at night.